Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. This chapter is about computer hardware. This is week 1. So, what is a computer? Who can tell me what is a computer? Anyone? What is a computer? In general, what is it? Is it a medical device, electronic device? It's an electronic device, right? It has some electronic components. So it can be programmed. It will take input. It will process the data, and then it will produce output. Okay? The computer, along with the additional hardware and software, is called computer system. So computer and extra hardware or software applications is called computer system. Okay? Now we will learn about some computer components. Okay? Let's talk first about, we said that computer process data. Data into information. Data is a collection of unprocessed items. Once you organize it, once you produce something useful from the data, then we call it information because it gives us some useful information. If it is raw, we call it data. If it has some meaning, it has been given some meaning, then it is called information. Okay? So information conveys meaning and is useful to people. Okay? So here, for example, this here is data. Look here, we have, okay, some figure, some text and numbers, but we don't know what is this. Okay? But if I put it in here, something like a receipt, then this is information. Okay? And if I put the numbers and text in a meaningful way, it is called information. All right? What is the process? The process, the computer will do some process, adding, arithmetic, logical, in order to process the information. The information processing cycle inside the computer. First, the computer processes input into output using some processes. These processes are called instructions, okay, or steps. It is the steps that tell the computer how to perform a particular task. A collection of related instructions organized for a common purpose, we call it software. So the computer will do some tasks, some processes. Let's say you want your computer to, you give it like 2 numbers and you want the computer to multiply these 2 numbers. Okay? So you give the program a software that will do the multiplication. How does it do it? It will tell the computer to do some certain steps, but the computer does it very fast. That's why you don't feel it. But actually, it's doing some steps together. Okay? A computer often holds data, information, and instructions in storage for future use. The series of input processes, output, and storage activities is the information processing cycle. اللي هي input, process, output, and storage. Why I need storage? Because I need to save it. Maybe I will need it in the future, or I will need it for another application, correct? We will show you the video. It has some examples of input, output, and internal computers. Now the computer inside, it has some electronic, and mechanical components known as hardware. Computer system hardware primarily comprises of motherboard, processor, memory, basic input-output systems or BIOS. We will show you this in the lab. We will bring these devices and show it to you, okay? The IT technician will be here and he will show you some examples, okay? But first he will show you some safety tips first, okay, how to handle it. All these components function together as a single unit to deliver the desired output. Okay, so as I mentioned, the lab technician will come and give you first a safety procedure. So please don't touch any of the hardware until you wait and meet with the IT technician. Okay, next week, inshallah, or the week after. All right. Any questions so far? You know the motherboard of the computer? It is the big board inside the computer. Okay? Yeah. It is the spine العمود الفقري of the computer and is known as the system board or main board, the same meaning. It is a printed circuit board, PCB. PCB يعني printed circuit board that contains buses, electrical pathways that interconnect electronic components. Okay? These components might be soldered, ملحومة يعني, or if you can put it on a socket and remove it, like the processor you can install or remove. You know, have you seen this? Put something or card you put and remove. Okay. Major components on a motherboard like microprocessor or CPU. This is the most important one. Chipset, random access memory RAM or ROM, cache memory, expansion slots, disk drive interface connections, standard I/O connections. I/O يعني input output. The CPU. CPU is the central processing unit. It is the electronic circuitry that carries out the actual processing. It will run the actual process of your computer, the CPU. So it's the brain of your computer. Now, this is what control what is the speed of your computer. Just hold on, please. All right, and Okay, so we'll come back. So this is the CPU. As you can see here, the CPU is the electronic circuitry that carries out the actual processing, and it is called the brain. Remember, I told you it's the brain of the computer. Okay? And some people, they just call it processor instead of CPU, processor. Okay? So the CPU is given instructions and data through the program, and then the CPU will fetch the program and data from the memory and performs the arithmetic and mathematical operations, okay, and logical operations as per the given instructions, and it will store the result back to memory. Okay, what are the three main components of the CPU? We have something called registers, and you have to know them, please. Registers, while processing, the CPU stores the data as well instructions in its local memory called registers. Registers is a special type of memory موجودة على CPU. Okay. Then we have the ALU. ALU is arithmetic logic unit. It is the part of the CPU that perform the arithmetic and logical operations, يعني addition, all this mathematics. It is done by the ALU. And ALU is part of what? CPU. Okay, good. Then we have the control unit, or CU. It controls sequential instructions execution, okay? Interprets instructions and guides data flow through the computer's memory. ALU and input or output devices. This is all controlled by the CU unit. They are all part of the CPU. Chipset. Chipset are microprocessor support devices that coordinate how system hardware interacts with the CPU and motherboard. Okay. Most chipsets consist of the following two types. The type of chipset, type of chips, and type of the microprocessor support devices. We have North Bridge. It controls high-speed access to the RAM and video card. And we have South Bridge, allows the CPU to communicate with the slower speed devices, such as the hard drives, the old hard drives, the universal USB and expansion slots. So which one is slower? South Bridge. North Bridge is faster. Okay. Input devices is easy. It converts input data into digital form. Give me example for input device. Mouse, keyboard, very good. Mic, microphone, scanner. Okay, these are joystick, ADF, flatbed scanner. Okay. Nowadays also we have a new input devices such as touch screen, stylus. Stylus is a type of digitizers that allows a designer or artist to create artwork. Okay, it's called, yeah. Magnetic strip reader also. Barcode scanner. Have you seen barcode? You go to the shop. Or, yeah. Webcam, signature pad at the bank, smart card reader, and microphone. We already talked about microphone. We have also NFC devices and terminals. NFC is abbreviation of near field communication, such as the one you use to pay. You just tap your card and okay. We have facial recognition, fingerprint scanners, the one we use to sign in. Even voice recognition scanners. Have you used any voice recognition before? Yeah, but fingerprint is used, I think. Yeah, no, even mobiles. Yeah, all input. Okay. We have also virtual reality headset. The last one, virtual reality headset, can have some input. Okay. These are all examples. The output is the opposite. It takes the digital information or binary information from the computer and converts it into a form that is easily understood by the user. Give me example. Printer, speaker, monitor, okay, projector. Now, what about computer memory? What is a computer memory? Computer memory, computer system needs memory. We already agree on that, to store data, okay, and instruction, okay? So when we talk about memory, we usually talk about the main memory or primary memory. The secondary memory, also called the storage device, is used to store data, instructions, and results permanently and for future use. Okay, so what is the unit of memory? How do you measure memory? Like car speed, we measure by kilometers per hour. What about memory? We measure it by bits. Byte is 8 bits. 1K is 1 kilo. 1 kilobyte is 1,000 byte. 1 kilobits is 1,000 bits. Okay. 1 mega is 1 million. Okay. 1 giga is 1 billion. All right. Bit can be only 0 or 1. Cannot be 2 or 5 or 6. Only 0 or 1. On or off. Very good. That's a good way to think about it. Byte, when you group 8 bits together, it's called byte. Why we group them? To make bigger chunks or unit. And it's easy to read them. Types of memory. Primary memory. Program and data are loaded into the primary memory before processing. The CPU interacts directly with the primary memory. Why? To read or write to it. Okay. We have different primary memory installed on the system board or motherboard. We have the RAM. RAM is volatile. Volatile meaning that it depends on power. If the power is switched off, the data is erased. Okay? If you switch off power, data is erased. Hard disk, if you switch off power, data is erased? No. So hard disk is non-volatile. We have another type of primary memory that is non-volatile. It's called ROM. Read-only memory is non-volatile. Okay? Contents are not lost even when the power is turned off. Okay? Usually it stores the startup programs. That's why we put the startup. When you turn on the computer, it will load from the ROM. We have the cache memory. The cache memory is faster than the secondary storage, but not as fast as a computer processor. Okay? So because of RAM, a CPU may have to slow down. To speed up the operation of the CPU, a very high-speed memory is placed between the CPU and the primary memory. It is known as cache. The cache memory, by the way, is more expensive because it's very fast. And it's related to the CPU. The CPU will interact with the cache. The cache is very fast. It will get the information from primary so that it will feed the information quickly to the CPU. So this is the cache. And it's more expensive than RAM and than ROM. Okay? Then we have also secondary memory. Secondary memory, because RAM and ROM has limited and they are expensive. So you need something that is bigger size. So we use hard disk. Okay. So the secondary memory is non-volatile and has larger storage capacity. It is slower and cheaper than the main memory. But it cannot be accessed directly by the CPU. You will need some software to go through it. Okay. Contents of secondary storage need to be first brought into the main memory for the CPU to access. Examples of secondary memory such as hard disk, optical drive, tape drive. You know optical drive, the DVD, you know, yeah. However, these days, there are secondary storage devices such as SSD. You know, memory cards, these are hard disks. They can be used as hard disks. Okay, which supports very fast data transfer speed. Okay, storage devices inside the computer connect to the motherboard using serial AT attachment. We call it SATA connection. So this is how you connect the storage devices inside a computer to the motherboard using SATA connection. We have also card adapters and expansion slots. You see, these are the expansion slots on the motherboard. We'll show you this. We'll show it to you, inshallah, our IT technician. And these are the adapter cards that fit here. Okay, such as sound card, NIC network interface card, video, universal, USB controller. Okay, so they fit on the expansion slots. What about the case? Each computer has a case. There are different types of cases. We have something called horizontal case, or we have full-size tower case, or we have compact tower. You know these computers, like this one here. This is compact tower, right? And we have all-in-one. All-in-one, yani all the computer is full. And everything is in one system. Yeah, like, you know, there are some HPs, Mac, like that. Then we have the power supply. The power supply convert AC power from the socket into lower voltage DC power. Why DC? Because the internal devices in the computer needs DC. Power supply includes several different connections, and they are used to power various internal components such as the motherboard and disk drives. And again, our IT technician will give you some safety information which are very important about handling these things. Okay. Any questions? Cooling system. Of course, any device, computer device needs cooling because the processor gets heated. Okay. So you better keep them cool. Okay. We keep them cool using two methods, either active solution or passive cooling solutions. Active solutions require power, such as the fan, Marwa, needs power. This is active solution. Passive solutions usually involve reducing the speed at which a computer is operating or adding heat sinks to the computer chip. You know the heat sink that you put on top of the processor? This is passive, like in your car, you have radiator and you have fan. Fan is active. Radiator is designed so that it will absorb the heat and, yeah. Same thing is the heat sink. A case fan is considered as active cooling. Okay, case fan is called active because it requires power. Thank you. This is it for this chapter. Now I will see if you have any questions.